The year was 1970. America's streets didn't whisper, they roared. Gasoline was cheap, the open road was limitless, and Detroit's factories were locked in a horsepower war that was rewriting automotive history. And in the middle of this battlefield, one machine stepped forward, its stance low, wide, and menacing: the Chevrolet Chevelle SS. This wasn't just another muscle car. This was Chevrolet's declaration of war. With its bold lines, sculpted hood, and the kind of presence that could silence a street corner before the engine even started, the Chevelle SS didn't ask for attention. It commanded it. Park it at any drive-in, and kids would gather, their eyes fixed on the bulging cowl induction hood, waiting for the driver to turn the key and unleash the beast that lay beneath. Because under that steel skin lived a monster. The legendary 454 cubic inch V8, the LS6. On paper, Chevrolet claimed it made 450 horsepower. But anyone who ever sat behind that wheel knew the truth. This engine laughed at factory numbers. Some said it was closer to 500 horsepower, maybe even more. It wasn't just an engine. It was raw American aggression, wrapped in chrome and steel. One stomp on the throttle, and the rear tires would scream in pain, leaving black scars on asphalt like a signature only a Chevelle SS could write. But the Chevelle wasn't just about brute force. It had style. Its split grille, its muscular haunches, the sweeping body lines. It carried the elegance of a street king dressed for war. Slide inside, and you'd feel it. Bucket seats gripping you like a fighter cockpit, gauges staring back at you as if daring you to go faster. It wasn't luxury, it was purpose. Everything was built to make you one with the machine, and the streets knew it. On Friday nights, when the neon signs glowed and engines echoed through small-town America, the Chevelle SS became legend. Challengers lined up, GTOs, Roadrunners, Chargers, Mustangs, all trying to claim the crown. But when the light turned green, the Chevelle's roar was different. Deeper, angrier, more unforgiving. Its sheer torque slammed bodies into seats, while its tires clawed desperately for grip. And by the time rivals shifted gears, the Chevelle was already riding its victory down the quarter-mile. Yet what made the Chevelle SS truly immortal wasn't just speed. It was the way it captured an era. The Vietnam War raged overseas, but back home, freedom still meant roaring engines and endless highways. Young men returning from service wanted power, wanted to feel alive, and the Chevelle SS gave it to them in purest form. It wasn't transportation. It was therapy. It was rebellion. It was the loud heartbeat of a generation that refused to be quiet. Even the cops knew. Highway patrols feared the Chevelle SS because outrunning one was nearly impossible. It could cruise comfortably at 70, but with just a twitch of the throttle, it became a blur. Legends spread of midnight runs where SS drivers disappeared into the night, taillights swallowed by the dark, leaving officers with nothing but the echo of fury. But perhaps the most dangerous thing about the Chevelle SS was its dual personality. It could sit polished and quiet in the driveway, the pride of any suburban dad who told himself it was just a car. Yet the moment his son took it out on a Saturday night, the beast awoke. And suddenly the quiet family coupe transformed into one of the most feared street warriors in America. The Chevelle SS wasn't perfect. It guzzled fuel, it demanded respect, and it punished careless drivers with smoking tires and broken egos. But that was the point. Owning one wasn't just about having a car. It was about proving you had the guts to tame it. And maybe that's why, even today, decades later, when you hear that deep V8 rumble rolling through a car show or echoing down a quiet street, people stop. They look. They smile. Because they know that sound belongs to a king. A king named Chevelle SS. This was no ordinary muscle car. This was Chevrolet's monster, built not for comfort, not for compromise, but for glory. And as the 1970s began, one truth became undeniable. If you wanted to rule the streets, you wanted the keys to a Chevelle SS. By the time the sun dipped behind the horizon and the streets turned into silent battlegrounds of asphalt, the Chevelle SS had already written its destiny. It wasn't just a car anymore. It was a weapon, a reputation, a ghost haunting every driver who dared to challenge it. To own one was to inherit a crown. To face one was to risk humiliation. The legend of the SS wasn't born in glossy magazines or dealership ads. It was forged at midnight, where quarter miles stretched like tightropes between courage and disaster. Picture it. Two cars lined up under flickering streetlights, engines idling, exhaust fumes filling the night air. A crowd of teenagers circling, their whispers drowned by the deep, low growl of the Chevelle SS. Then, in a heartbeat, the world exploded. Tires shrieked, smoke filled the air, and the Chevelle catapulted forward with a violence that no rival could match. Its rear end squatted, its nose lifted, and its driver gripped the wheel like he was holding onto lightning itself. By the time the challenger realized the fight was over, the SS was already a blurred disappearing into darkness. But the Chevelle SS was more than drag strips and back alley glory. It represented something deeper. It was the pure embodiment of American rebellion at a time when the country itself was changing. The world was complicated: politics, war, protests, uncertainty. But when you sat behind the wheel of that Chevelle, everything became simple. It was just you, the machine, and the road. Every stomp of the gas pedal was a declaration of independence. Every roar of the LS6 engine was a scream of defiance against anything that tried to cage your spirit. And yet, for all its glory, the Chevelle SS carried a dangerous edge. This car demanded respect. Many drivers who underestimated it learned quickly that 500 horsepower could turn from thrill to terror in seconds. The SS didn't forgive mistakes. Lose focus, and it would spin, burn, or worse. And that danger became part of its mythology. Stories spread of drivers who wrapped them around poles, who pushed them too far. The Chevelle wasn't a car you simply drove. It was a beast you tamed. And only the fearless or the foolish tried to claim its throne. Collectors today talk about horsepower, torque, 0 to 60 times. But ask anyone who lived the muscle car era, and they'll tell you, the Chevelle SS wasn't measured in numbers. It was measured in respect. When one rolled into a parking lot, other engines fell silent. When one revved at a red light, hearts skipped a beat. You didn't need to check specs. You knew what it was capable of. It was the undisputed king. The twist, however, came when time itself turned against muscle. By the mid-70s, new regulations, rising insurance premiums, and the oil crisis all but killed the golden age. Cars shrank. Horsepower figures dropped. The thunder of Detroit was silenced. But the Chevelle SS refused to fade into memory. It lived on, not just in garages, not just in auctions, but in culture itself. Movies, songs, posters. The SS became a symbol of what once was. A reminder of a time when power was unlimited and freedom was louder than rules. Even today, when modern cars boast turbochargers, hybrid systems, and computerized controls, there's something raw about the Chevelle SS that technology can't replicate. It doesn't whisper efficiency. It shouts dominance. It doesn't protect you with traction control. It dares you to control it yourself. It doesn't make you feel safe. It makes you feel alive. And that, more than anything, is why people still chase it. Why auctions explode with million-dollar bids. Why restorers dedicate years to resurrecting one from rust. Why old men at car shows still tear up when they hear that engine rumble again. Because the Chevelle SS isn't just metal, rubber, and fuel. It's a time machine. It carries you back to Friday nights where the streets were kingdoms. Back to an era when young men measured courage in tire smoke. And back to a moment in history when Chevrolet unleashed something so powerful it became immortal. The climax of the Chevelle SS story isn't its top speed or its quarter-mile record. The climax is this. Even after 50 years, it still rules. It still matters. It still makes hearts race the way it did in 1970. And when one roars to life today, everyone turns, everyone listens, everyone knows. Because legends don't die. Legends rumble on. And in the pantheon of muscle cars, the Chevrolet Chevelle SS doesn't just sit among the greats. It sits at the very top, as the king that conquered the streets and the ghost that still haunts them.